Hello and welcome to AITPM News. And in this edition we look at the West Australian election. People don't trust car companies to make self-driving cars. Is Uber over? A no-frills bike sharing scheme. And adding scent in buses to make it more pleasant. Transport was a significant issue in the West Australian election, which has now seen a change of government, and some analysis suggests it was most significant in marginal seats. Like most transport policy debates, a considerable amount of coverage was given to a few big projects. One such project was the Roe Highway extension, known as Roe 8, an east-west link to the south of Perth, which was promoted as improving both commuter and freight access. Contracts have been let by the previous government, and now there are reports on cancelling these, which has raised the spectre of compensation. We talk about the need for hierarchy, but we argue as though new projects are the only real issue. It is detrimental to our profession when the transport debate within the political spectrum is a range of mode-specific generalities and major projects which have no stability in how they are planned and how they are implemented. Consumers around the world remain sceptical about the safety of fully autonomous vehicles. A study by Deloitte compares consumer attitudes from 17 countries on self-driving cars. South Korea, with 81%, holds the highest percentage of people who express safety concerns about fully autonomous vehicles. At 62%, China shows the lowest concern, yet this is still nearly two-thirds of the sample in that country. Autonomous cars are coming, but the changeover will take a long time and involve technical, emotional and behavioural issues. Ride-hailing company Uber, which came onto the scene in 2009, appears to be the classic disruptive business that will have a huge impact on transport. Uber is now becoming the generic term for the ride-handling industry, but we should not assume that the business model is totally stable, nor that ride-hailing will go away if Uber stumbles. There have been considerable reports of the likely demise of Uber. Bloomberg reported that Uber burned through $3 billion in 2016, on top of about $2 billion in 2015. Recently, the organisation seems to be imploding, but it has a big war chest and many are betting that it won't fall over. Transport planners have to think about what happens if the disruptors are disrupted. And we need to work with businesses to ensure that financial returns and community value are both considered. At a major transport conference last year, an international expert lamented that transport planners often see the future they want as being always ordered and controlled. But the future is not governed only by regulations and plans. Market forces that tap into consumer emotions and needs can produce interesting results. Bike share schemes are always portrayed as neat modern bikes in docking bays. But in Austin in America there is a much more no-frills bike sharing scheme. A company called Spin has a Lock Anywhere QR-coded system activated by a phone app. They are, at startup, promising a $1 per ride deal. They claim that traditional bike-sharing schemes can cost up to $5,000 per bike per year. All this scheme needs is more standard bike racks. In Singapore, the bus operator Tower Transit is adding a scent with hints of rose and peppermint to 100 of its buses to try and improve the quality of the ride and encourage more people to their services. This is not a first. Dunkin' Donuts in South Korea installed technology in buses in Seoul that released the smell of coffee whenever the company advertisement played through the bus's speakers. Many years ago, a transport planner said that public transport will never be as good as when you are driving alone in your car until you can pass wind on a bus or a train and not be embarrassed. Perhaps this is a way to mode equality.